Good morning. As you can see, it's an absolutely glorious day here in the UK. We've been spoiled this weekend. It's been so nice. Yesterday we actually went to Farmhouse and spent some time with some friends around the pool. There was a little pool party going on for Pride, and so we just basically had a few drinks. Well, I didn't, I was driving, but they had quite a lot of drink, to be fair. They polished off a couple of magnums of rosé, and then we grabbed some food and then we headed back. We actually got back quite late last night, so it's been a very leisurely start today, but we are going to be visiting my mum later on this afternoon, and so I think Lydia's going to put together a bouquet from the wildflower that you can see behind me, which is looking amazing at the moment. I spoke in my last vlog about how the wildflower keeps on transitioning and flowering differently, which is really enjoyable for us because we're not sure what to expect because we've never gone through the cycle of this wildflower turf before. So we're discovering it as it's growing, and that's really enjoyable in itself. But that's the plan of action. I'm going to get busy editing some of my footage from Tuscany because that still hasn't gone out over on my Instagram, and I created quite a bit of content whilst we were there. So Lydia's going to get busy doing that. I'm going to jump into my office, which is actually quite sad because it's so nice today. I'd rather be sitting in the sun, but I have to get some stuff done because it's so busy at the moment, which I'm absolutely loving, but I don't have much time to sit down onto the computer and edit. So I'm going to use the opportunity today to do so, and then hopefully later on we'll make our way over to my mum's, and then there's a small chance we might go meet some friends for a Sunday roast. We'll see. It feels very hot for a Sunday roast, doesn't it? So I'll see what Lydia's feeling, and we'll go from there. Are you relaxing in the sun, my boy? Yes. You asking for a belly rub? Okay. How can I resist? How can I resist? Oh yeah. How can I resist, eh? Eh? You are such a silly little boy. Also, whilst we're actually in the garden, you may notice that there is some growth coming along, which is looking really nice. I think I mentioned a couple of videos ago that we were starting to grow parts of the garden and create more wild turf areas. It's really great for solitary bees in particular, and it also adds a little bit of interest as well to what was quite a large space of just lawn. So if I was to step back, you'll have to excuse the gas cover. My plan for that is we were going to put some 3G grass on it. The guys need to be able to access it to fill up the LPG tank, so I'm not sure if sticking a different lid with actual real grass or turf in it is suitable, because it might become quite heavy and difficult for them when they need to refill it. So I'm thinking of actually just putting some Zinza on it, which is like a primer, which will help paint stick to it, and then spray it in like a similar colour green to what the grass is, just so it's a little bit hidden, because at the moment it stands out like a sore thumb. But as you can see, oh my god, there's a gate there. As you can see, I'm starting to create a pathway from the gate that I've just walked into around the lawn. So we'll grow all this section up here, and then we'll coast our way into the lawn itself. So when this is actually up, I think this is about a month's growth, so it's doing really, really well. I need to get the water on the grass because it's been hit quite hard this weekend actually with the heat. But the idea is to basically channel this pathway out into the lawn. Also, when all the lavender comes up here, it's going to look incredible. It's going to look like a purple kind of border lining the patio. And anyway, back to what I was talking about. And then yeah, I'm going to curve this around and then pull this back in, and then just sort of feather it out into the woodland. And then again at the back here, same kind of principle. I'm taking the line from the pathway that leads up from this sort of kitchen garden section. You'll see, so we've got the pathway here that goes down to the shed, and then there is another little entrance just here which takes you into this section of the garden where Lydia's greenhouse is, and I'm kind of channeling that along using this edge line here, and then we're going to come up and then around, and then all of this here, I've started seeding this section here, will be wild turf. You can actually see here as well where the honeybee walk is. You'll see that there's a pathway that comes through, there's some growth happening here. I'm going to lead that up, so it'll just have a kind of like pathway system, which is going to be quite nice. When the chicken coop arrives, which should actually be quite soon, it's due this month, maybe in a week or two, the plan is this section here is where it's going to be housed. Where you can see this edge line being cut in, I'm going to curve it in, and then we're going to come down into here, create a square section, and then that's where the chicken coop's going to sit. And then I'm going to have to look at sticking some kind of pen in. They will actually be free range, so they'll be running all around the garden, but say for example we've got friends over with dogs and we want to ensure that there is an element of safety for the chickens, we can put them into the coop area, or the pen should I say, where the coop is situated, and they can still come out and be outside, but they're in a bit more of a controlled environment. So it gives that flexibility. Also, if there is bird disease that comes back, they need to be kept in there anyway, so it kind of all ties into the wider or larger picture. So that's the plan of that, but I'm going to regrettably jump into my office whilst Barkley enjoys the outdoors. Wild sausage. It does make me laugh. Little waggy tail, are you going to request a belly rub? Porty? Yes? Thinking about it, aren't you? Ah, best brothers. Best brothers. Beautiful little boys.
Right, I have been set the task of popping together a little bit of a posy, a little bunch of flowers for Ali's mum. Basically, Ali's mum had surgery recently. She had chickenpox when she was a little girl. I had no idea that this was even possible. But she had chickenpox when she was a little girl and actually managed to end up with a chickenpox that was on her eye, and it has really affected her vision over the years. And bless her, she's finally started sort of a recovery program, and we're going to go and see her after her surgery to see how she's getting on. And as always, we like to take things that either come from our garden or we've made or whatever. So I'm going to go out into the garden, probably into the wildflower, and just pick some flowers. You okay, Porter? I'm going to head out into the wildflower and into the garden to pick some bits and pop them in a vase to take with us. I think I need to like buy some wholesale little mini vases so that I can do this, because I actually really like taking bits and pieces for people in vases. I think it looks really nice. So yeah, I'm going to see what I can rustle up and pick some flowers for her. So I've settled on this vase. I think this is a nice size to take. We can pop some ribbon around here and a little dingle dangle card or note on here as well. But what I like to do is head out into the garden and just pick and put it in my hand and just arrange it as I'm going, because then I feel like I get a better understanding of what it is that I need. So that's what we're going to do. So the good thing is about the wildflower at the moment is that we've got quite a lot of overhang. So I think there's definitely room for me to chop some of these big daisies back and use them in an arrangement. Well, there we go. A lovely, wild and wonderful. I might get some greenery and some leaves to pop in at the back just to give it a bit more density around here. But we've got salvias, oxeye daisies, we've got some of the wildflower grasses, lots of loveliness. Ooh, stung me. Lots of loveliness in here. So I'm going to get a ribbon around there and also maybe some leaves. I'll show you the finished result. I think I'm getting quite used to this chopping of flowers in the garden, because usually I would not do this because I just like everything growing, but I've even put in some of my roses They smell absolutely incredible. So we've got a mix of salvias, roses and wildflower, and it's very dramatic and elaborate, and I love it. I feel like maybe we could use something here. I'm not sure, but I love the colours. It's so beautiful. Oh, perfect.
Lydia's just told me that she's finished putting the bouquet together. I actually haven't seen it yet, and so I'm gonna go and check that out in a second. But I have made some progress here in the office, which is good times, but I have so much more to do. But Lydia's told me that enough is enough for today. It's a weekend, we need to get out and enjoy the weather. But before we do head over and see my mum, I wanted to quickly share with you this week's Sky Cinema Club review. It's called Paradise Highway. It will premiere on the 17th of June on Sky Cinema, and the film is about a truck driver who has been forced or asked to smuggle some illicit cargo from her brother, who's actually spending time in prison and is associated with a gang. With the FBI hot on her tail, the driver, Sally, has to make some tough decisions when the cargo that she turns up to collect turns out to be a teenage girl. The film started with a nice soulful jazzy soundtrack, and I was like, this is going to be a nice upbeat film. And then we got into the storyline. I have to say, I found the beginning, and in fact moments throughout the whole of this film, quite uncomfortable to watch, and a lack of conversation between Sally, who was the truck driver, and the teenage girl, I would say, was one of the factors that helped build the suspense within this movie. And as they began to introduce Morgan Freeman, who was playing the role of a FBI agent of over 50 years, and I'm a big fan of Morgan Freeman, by the way, he then began the hunt for a little girl that was linked to the killing of Paul, who was the guy on the receiving end of Sally's delivery. As the movie unfolds, Morgan Freeman gets closer to his target, and Sally, the truck driver, has to make some tough decisions which will affect both her and the little teenage girl's life. It truly was a cutting film, and it actually inspired me to go and visit the ECPAT charity, which is an organisation focusing on child trafficking and child exploitation. I think it's fair to say that this was a very thought-provoking movie, and amongst all of the sorrow, it definitely was a nice reminder that humanity does exist, and with the right people around you, there is always the opportunity for a better life. Another film featuring on Sky Cinema this month is Don't Worry Darling. It features Harry Styles, and it's coming to our screens on the 23rd of June, so make sure you mark that in your calendar. Also, for those of you that are Batman films, this month from the 16th until the 26th of June, there'll be a Batman collection for you to enjoy on Sky Cinema's dedicated channels. Now, as always, I'll leave the relevant links to the 2 trailers that I've mentioned in today's video in the description box down below for you to go and check out. I would love to hear what you think of Paradise Highway. I found it quite moving, quite emotional. I strongly suggest that you go and watch Paradise Highway. I think it's a fantastic film, and just be prepared that it may get a little bit emotional. Now, I am going to get myself packed up here in the office because Lydia wants to get out and enjoy the nice weather, and so I think we've done enough for today. I'm gonna go and check out that bouquet and we'll hit the road. Oh wow. Isn't she clever? They look amazing. Okay, I'll give it a call. These look amazing, babe. Yeah. Profesh. Can't believe they've come from our garden. Wowza. Lovely. Literally ready to go. Happy days. I'm sure my mum will be over the moon with these. And the jar. We're all set, ready to go?
Yep.
They look so good.
You like them?
Yeah, I can't believe they're from our garden.
Yeah.
Amazing. What you poking your head around for, little boy? Hey? Potty?
Poor Dooney. Hope they're not too hot.
Going to see their nanny.
Grandma! I've got their lead in the black.
Oh, well done. You excited to see Grandma? Oh, yes. Well, we've come back from my mum's, and for the first time ever, I've managed to convince Lydia to get a Turkish takeaway.
Convinced? You didn't even ask me.
We're going to tuck into this. The boys have just been fed. You had a lovely time, didn't you? Yes, we did. We even stopped to see a couple of friends locally as well, so you've had a great afternoon. Anyway, I'm going to eat because I'm hungry. This morning there were 3. Come on, Em. Well, all of a sudden, the heavens have opened. We were saying how the garden needed a good drink, and it's certainly getting it now. I'm just going to quickly go outside and show you. It's so weird in the woodlands when it's like this. It's lovely and warm outside still though. Bring it on. Happy veg. Oh, the rain. You have to love it. Look at it go. I am so thankful and so pleased that the lawn is finally going to be getting its drink. After yesterday's storm, we have a well and truly hydrated garden, and I'm going to take the opportunity actually to use one of my birthday presents from Lydia. So we'll get to that in a second, but just before we go down and head out, I thought I'd quickly share with you a lovely gift that has been sent from Amouage. This is their exceptional Amouage Atars range or collection. It has 8 ethereal fragrances in it, and I think this is actually quite a nice way to discover a new collection. And we're going to take a look inside. This will be the first time I'm seeing this as well. The collection was actually inspired by the villages of Sultanam in Oman, and you can see here we have the sample set. I wonder if it tells you what each fragrance is called. I've spoken of Amouage on the channel before. I actually went into Harrods to discover the brand. Oh, they are very little dinky samples. They have really unique fragrances. And so this truly is a sample set. So inside this set we have Oris Wakan, Rose Accord, Vanilla Barker, Incense Rory, Saffron Hamra, Oud Ulaya, Santal Sahar, and Amber Zagara. Probably haven't pronounced those correctly, but I'm not familiar with any of the second words in the names of these fragrances. But something I really like about Amouage as a brand are they tend to deliver really unique scents, something that I'm not used to smelling, and so I really like the discovery. It really pleases my senses when I'm smelling something new for the first time. If you're not familiar with Amouage and you've not tried out any of their fragrances before, they do have a concession inside Harrods, so if you're in London, then fly by and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to help talk you through the brand and also let you smell some of their fragrances. They always have the latest collections in there as well, so you can take a smell of these. I'll be spending the next couple of weeks discovering the fragrances that are inside this new collection, and I'll let you know which one is my favourite. I also received my City 2 Pinces trousers back from Noro Piana from the Alterations guys, and sadly they're too tight around the waist, so I'm going to have to spend my afternoon after we've been out in a second taking them back to have them redone, which is a little bit frustrating. I didn't actually go and pick them up, otherwise I would have actually tried them on whilst I was in there, but we're going to be going back there today to have those redone. And so let's head downstairs now and I'll talk you through what we're going to be doing in the garden. Earlier on in the year, Lydia picked me up for my birthday this bag of seeds. They're from Gate, who are a royal warrant holder, and this particular mixture, because they do loads of different mixtures, is the EW1F, and it's wildflower for woodlands preservation seed mixture, and it tends to flower late spring, early summer, so we're on the cusp of when they should be kind of starting to come through at the moment, so a little bit late to be seeding them. However, we have had quite a late start into the season. It's been quite cold up until a couple of weeks ago, and so yesterday's rain has been perfect to soften the ground, create a lot of moisture in the ground as well. So these seeds have got the heat, and of course I'll be watering them, which will mean they'll be wet enough to hopefully germinate and then start to flower on our lawn section, which is on the skirt of the woodland. So They actually suggest that these are planted on the cusp of woodland areas anyway, because you get better natural light and the canopies aren't blocking out too much of the light. And so I'm hoping that the environment in which I'm going to be planting them is going to be perfect for this seed mixture. And it just means we're going to have a little bit more interest into that section of the garden. So we're going to go out there now. I'm going to scatter these as best we can, give them a quick water, and then that will be a good job done, because I have been meaning to get these out for, well, since I got them in April, so quite some time. Aha! A bag in a bag. So I'm thinking, it's actually quite hard to spread seeds evenly, isn't it? Mm. So
they should have one of those things like roll, isn't it?
Well, that's for grass seeds. I don't know. I think these you can just sort of throw, but I don't want to like clump them. So I'm thinking maybe piercing a little hole in this bag. Just do it in the bottom. Just like so. And then spray it. Or I might put them in my hands actually and throw it. That'd be probably a more sensible idea. The wildflower took a big hit yesterday. I'm hoping, might be wishful thinking, but I'm hoping it was going to pick itself up with the sun as it dried out, but so far it's just sitting floppy. So I have to do some research to find out how we can make this rise back up again. Well, I'll probably let this run for about 5 minutes, help it push some of the seeds down to the ground, get them wet, and then I'll keep on dragging that back until we cover the space here. But it is doing quite well, and there's already stuff growing up in there, which is nice. And so this will just be, hopefully, if it takes, will just be a little extra bit of interest going on, but it's starting to come together. The girls are currently inside the kitchen today working on recipes and cooking and drinking and all of that fun stuff. I think I need to get the lawnmower out and the leaf blower as well and pick up all of this debris from yesterday. Right, so the watering has pretty much finished. I've just got one little area that I want to do, but I'm going to pop out now before the alterations shop closes today, because I want to get those trousers in and get them working on them tomorrow in the hope that we can pick them up before the weekend. So we'll see how we get on, but I'm not overly hopeful that the wildflower seed is going to take. I have to be honest, in the past I've not had much luck with wildflower seeds. I actually even rotivated a section in the woodland once and seeded it all, and it is kind of hard to tell because there was obviously more established wildflower root systems within the ground, because what's come up is pretty much what you see all around the woodland already, and so my wildflower seeds didn't actually take. We've also tried a few other areas in the past and we've not had huge success. I'm not sure if it's also because I hadn't particularly been the best at watering the areas. I'd go up every now and then, but I wasn't doing it every day. And so perhaps that's also my fault. But today I gave them probably about a 10-minute water. You need to be careful when watering seeds because any puddles that are formed can create clusters of seeds and then you can get really unbalanced areas. And so I try not to overwater the space, but I wanted to try and force the seeds down to the bed as much as I could using the water, because obviously I'm seeding over the top of existing wildflower, I guess, or at least very long grass. So I'll keep you updated. Fingers crossed they come through, because it looks like a fantastic wild seed pack that Lydia picked me up. And so in the coming weeks or months, I'll share with you and we'll all know whether that was successful or not. But I'm going to wrap this video up now. I hope you have enjoyed it. As always, I'll leave the relevant links in the description box down below, and I'll see you next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Take care.